and welcome to the Connection Compass. I'm your host, Andrea Louise Evans. For more information about my work, you can visit andrealevans.com or the Leading with Connection publication on Substack. Both details are in the show notes. This week, it's just me on the mic as I wrap up Series 3 on healing stories. When I began this podcast, my main aim was to capture the stories beyond what we see on a daily basis. So it was about being able to hear another person's journey and how they find themselves in the place where they are in the current presence and how their journeys have led them to help others too. I'm quite open and honest that the modern day world, particularly around the language of equality, diversity, and inclusion, and identity, drives me insane. Not because I don't care about inclusion or that I don't see it as important, but because of its rigidity and performative nature. And while the framework of equality, diversity, and inclusion provide an important legal and ethical foundation, it doesn't capture the essence of who we truly are. The stories that have shaped us, our experiences, and the other people that we have met along the way that have contributed to who we are and how we've developed. It's not hate that drives me, but the recognition that human experience cannot be captured by a series of tick boxes. The human experience is complex, it's evolving, and deeply personal, along with our sense of self and belonging. So I'm not rejecting the values of inclusion, but I'm reframing them in a way that invites real connection rather than surface level compliance. And I think the modern day world is calling for something deeper, that we need to live from a deeper place, that we are truly connected to ourselves, to the world around us, to our heart, to our intuition, to our possibility and potential. And so having those tick boxes, it just feels too constrictive and not in alignment with the human experience. If we take the generic definition of inclusion, which is about being included within a group of structure, and while the last 100 years have seen amazing leaps forward in outcomes and rights for women and girls, we are fully aware now that boys have been left behind with devastating consequences. And this was highlighted in the Centre for Social Justice report, The Lost Boys. To me, that is not inclusion, it's neglect. And neglecting one group in favour of another. In recent weeks, I've been reviewing the strategic foundations of the work to the Connection Compass framework. It's a body of work that I've grown and developed over 7 years. This work has been layered, and with each new layer, I found myself having to grow into that layer. And I think that's why it's taken me a long time to develop it. I found that I've had to question every single thought I've had. I've had to question my own self doubt, my own self worth over and over again to bring this work into being. And as I approach the 8th year, it's been less about the integration, but more about taking it out into the world around me. My first event is going to be at the Midland Hotel in Manchester on Monday, the 20th October. It was July, but after feedback, we just pushed it back a little bit. And we cover the growth and development of the Connection Compass framework, but how we can use it to create safer spaces for people to thrive through the holistic lens, and how we can use nervous system regulation to support ourselves and others in possibility and potential. And that by leaning into that sense of self, that sense of regulation, that sense of belonging and safety, we can create environments where people thrive. The details for that event are in the show notes. As I have considered this work, I realize how much of my own identity has shaped this work. My family's experiences, my own lived experience, and the ability to lean into thought and feeling over the years. It's living a life through the holistic lens. I'm often that person that lives in the nuance, recognizing the complexities and the finer details within a situation or concept. And I'll give you an example of that. So, if we look at the recent incident in the UK where Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer in the UK government, was crying, it was caught on camera, there's been this whole furore about it. And in the aftermath of that, what the focus was on, should we be showing emotion in the workplace? How they linked it to a loss of confidence and seeing a dip in the stock market. And because Rachel was crying. And to me, that's not necessarily the main story within that. That wasn't what I focused on at all. From the footage that I saw on the TV, I saw another woman, Kemi Badenoch, in a place of power, a role model for leadership, tearing down another woman who was crying. And she shouted across the House of Commons. She looked miserable. That's my focus. And I don't understand why nobody else focused on it either. And it does show us something about the state of our leadership in the UK. Kemi is role modeling leadership. To me, that is not how leadership should be. We shouldn't be tearing people down and humiliating another person to get ahead or score brownie points. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Living in nuance can often be seen as non-compliance, but I actually see it as a place where we have the potential to hold multiple truths and perspectives at the same time. I feel it's where there is an openness to know and learn more. And I always see life as a journey of learning. I'm always open to changing my mind, changing perspectives, but it's allowing that information to come in and for it to sit with you and embrace the wisdom, intelligence, and looking at things from different angles. What I think and feel about the world is not set in stone, and it has in the past changed and will continue to evolve and change as time goes by. It's just where I am in the current moment. As we wrap up the third season of the Connection Compass, I can't tell you how much fun I've had with the series, even though we are sharing stories from a deep personal nature and tenderness and care. It's just been amazing. And I have to thank Charlotte, David, Ashley, Grace, Megan, Nikki, Shemaine, Kimber, and Alicia for coming onto the podcast and sharing their heartfelt stories. And I have to say for Alicia as well, who, although a guest, absolutely held the space for me and allowing me to share my story and my experience of losing my pet cat Lenny. This is what the podcast is about, holding space for others to share their stories, their thoughts and feelings about the world and their own lived experience. And it's for guests to be seen, heard, and understood so that others can hear their stories too and find resonance and connection. And, that is my beef about the language around EDI is it's not from a place of depth and it's not from a place of experience. And it's very difficult to find deep and meaningful connection within the rigidity of tick boxes, but it can absolutely be found in our stories. For series 4, the theme of the podcast is making a difference, and we meet the people who are out there in the world doing their own unique thing whilst creating impact. I'm already looking forward to it. It's been so much fun doing the interviews. I've made some amazing connections across the world. So I thank you for listening and to continue supporting the podcast to grow. If you like listening to the podcast and think it will help others, please subscribe, please leave a review. And if you're interested in attending the Manchester event, please check the details in the show notes. Once again, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. If you have any questions, please visit Andrea Levin's Facebook page. And remember to keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world.